Hello viewers, and welcome to a brand new episode of Trashtalk on Fabula Ultima, a series where I talk about the various classes you can mix together to create your desired heroic characters in your Fabula Ultima campaign. In today's episode, Spiritist. Spiritist, healer, priest, witch. Spiritist is a person that have developed a strong connection with the raw aspects of soul, emotion, energy, life, and death, and could wield power both miraculous and frightening. In terms of mechanic, you might just dismiss Spiritist as a pure support class that can support allies with magic, but Spiritist can bite quite hard too, as you will soon find out. Anyway, let's take a look at the Spiritist free benefits first. Like all other magic classes, getting Spiritist provides +5 permanent max MP, and also access to rituals that fall under ritualism discipline, nothing unusual. Now, let's take a look at the Spiritist skills. First, healing power. When you cast a spell that targets allies, if you have arcane weapon equipped, you may have each of those allies recover an amount of HP equal to skill level times the number of your bonds. This healing is separated from actual healing provided by a spell. In summary, you heal more when you use magic on your allies, but it's also more than that, as this skill ties itself to another aspect of Spiritist, making connection with people or anything else, and this connection can be used to strengthen your magic. In short, if you are playing Spiritist, it might not be a good idea to play as a recluse, and also it does seem like Spiritist might have some synergy with Darkblade of all classes due to the bond mechanic. After all, this part here doesn't say that it has to be a positive bond. Second, ritual spiritism. You may perform rituals under you know what this is, just think of something like a narrative healing magic moments. Third, spiritual magic. Each time you acquire the skill you also know what this is. There's 12 Spiritist spells, we will talk about them later. This uses insight and willpower as usual. Fourth, support magic. When you cast a spell that targets one or more allies, with arcane weapon equipped, you may choose one of those allies that you have targeted that you have a bond towards. If you do, said ally gains a bonus to the next check they performed, and this bonus is equal to the strength of your bond towards them. Now it's not just the number of bonds that you need, it's also their strength now, so you and your friend can use the power of friendship to kill God. In a way, you are kinda the enabler of great violence here, and you can start to see why sometimes people are very wary of Spiritist's ability to manipulate emotion. Also, again, this bond doesn't have to be a positive bond, it can be toxic Yuri too, and in fact, the more toxic it is the better. Fifth, Vismagus. If you don't have the MP to cast a spell, you can now cast it from your HP, with double the cost. You can't use the skill if this put you below 0 hit point, and if a spell cast this way can recover your HP, you don't get to cheat, your allies still get healed if it's a multi-hit spell though. Exactly what it said really. If you ran out of juice, just stick a needle into your forearm and hook it into your staff. Normally, this would be the part where I talk about the Spiritist's heroic skills, but like all magic classes, the Spiritist has a bunch of spells that can be learned via spiritual magic skill. Again, remember, you can only pick 10 of these max and there's 12 of them. First, Aura, 4-5 MP, 3 targets max. You shield your allies with the power of your soul. This lets the target treats their magic defense to be equal to 12 for the rest of the scene, though they can pick the original if it's higher. Have trouble with offensive spell, just put this on your allies and you are mostly safe to go. Second, Awaken, 420 MP, choose one attribute. Until this spell ends, the target treats the chosen attribute as 1 die size higher, up to a max of D12, want to roll better on something, just use this instead. Third, Barrier, 4-5 MP, 3 targets max. This just does the same thing as Aura except for normal defense. Now anyone can tank a hit like a fully armored warrior. Fourth, Cleanse, 4-5 MP, 3 targets max. You can cleanse status effects off your targets, status effects being any effects that reduces your die size, very useful to say the least. Fifth, Enrage, this is an offensive spell, 410 MP, make the target suffers enraged which reduces their dexterity and insight, and also unable to perform guard or spell actions during their turn, good for shutting down agile or magic using enemies, and this is probably one of the reason why people are a bit scared of Spiritist. Sixth, Hallucination, 4-5 MP, 3 targets max. You can make the target suffers either dazed or shaken, reducing their insight or willpower. This is kinda like a weaker by more widespread version of Enrage to weaken enemy magic user, pretty useful. Seventh, Heal, 410 MP, 3 targets max. You heal people for 40 MP, more when you leveled up. What else can I say? This spell heals people by a massive extent, very useful. 8th, Lux, 410 MP, 3 targets max, you shoots lasers at people, dealing high roll plus 15 damage, on a critical success, this also dazes the targets. 9th, Mercy, 420 MP, you strengthen the heart of a creature against suffering and despair, until this spell ends. If the target would be reduced to 0 health, it will not, they will be left standing on 1 health, then the spell end. Do you have a moment in a fight where you must keep someone alive? Well then this would be a good spell to have around, make for some pretty intense moments too. 10th, Reinforce, 4-5 MP, 3 targets max, choose one of the following status effects, until this spell end, the target is immune to said status effects, useful if your foes constantly inflict a specific status effect, but it also means you gotta understand how your foes works very well. 11th, Soul Weapon, 410 MP on your equipped weapon, it's just like any other weapon elemental damage buff spell, but this time with light damage, useful when you want to smash the shit out of some skeletons. And finally, Torpor, 4-5 MP, 3 targets max, choose slow or weak, you inflict said status effect upon your targets, good against physical attackers to make them weaker. Upon putting 10 levels into Spiritist, it is now considered as mastered and you get to choose a heroic skill for it. Currently, there's 9 Spiritist specific heroic skills, 2 in core rulebook, 3 in high fantasy, 3 in natural fantasy, and 1 in the 6th Fabula Ultima bonus supplement. First in the core rulebook, there's Hope, 440 MP, choose a player that have surrendered, that is, anyone with 0 health, and is still on the scene. That player character immediately regains consciousness and recover HP up to their crisis score, which is half their max HP bar. This however, does not remove the consequence of surrendering previously, and also has some obvious narrative restriction that won't apply in a video game, most of the time. This is pretty much the only action in the entire game that can be used to revive a knocked out character, so it can be a good thing to have in critical moments like fighting the final boss. Next there's Powerful Spell, it just makes your damage spell stronger, that's about it, and probably not very useful if you are going full support with Spiritist. And in the High Fantasy Atlas, all 3 heroic skills here have been covered before already, like Bimagus to cast more spells in one turn efficiently, Fast Rituals for faster ritual, and Magic Guard to shut down magic spell, which is kinda redundant when Spiritist has Enrage that can last even longer. Onward to the Natural Fantasy Atlas, there's Auramancer's Refraction, which can also be unlocked by Arcanist, and requires learning either Aura and or Barrier spell. Choose a damage type, Air, Bolt, Earth, Fire, Ice, and Light. When an enemy deals damage to those you have cast Aura or Barrier spells on, the damage is reduced by your level in Spiritist class or your level divided by 10, whichever higher, then you may deal damage equal to half your level of the chosen damage type to said enemy, only once before the start of your next turn. This just protects your allies even better with your defensive spells, as well as punishing anyone that tries to hurt them, very useful for tanking hits. Cleansing Moonlight, which can also be unlocked by Entropist, is a heroic skill where one can prevent enemies from utilizing buffs from their allies, or clean off status effects even more from your allies, as long as you are casting spells on them, it's just a nice cleansing skill. Then there's Ephemeral Tranquility, which can also be unlocked by Dancer, Esper, Rogue, and Symbolist, but basically requires some of Spiritist's spell like Hallucination and Torpor. When you cast those 2 spells, you may apply both status effects on your targets. Also during conflict, with an action and 20 MP, you may, for every 10 MP, target an enemy currently suffering from 2 or more status effects. This cleans all status effects off them and also causes them to explode, losing HP up to half your levels plus number of status effects cleared times 10, then, you recover 20 MP for each enemies that have entered crisis or reduced to 0 health from this action. This action is literally emotional damage that can actually kill you. It's also not an offensive spell, so if you are suffering depression, a Spiritist can just look at you and then you explode. Fucking nightmare child right here. And lastly, in the 6th Fabula Ultima bonus supplement, there's a Fuda Mastery, which we still can't talk about because it needs a Symbolist skill, so we are leaving this for the end of this year I guess. And that's basically it on Spiritist, the healer support class that can actually just kill you whenever they feel like it. That's all for now, and I will see you all next time. Hello there, if you like this video, please subscribe and click that notification bell button. If you want to see the videos early as well as further support my channel, you can join in my Patreon page, or buy me some coffee, links in the description. Anyway, have a nice day.